Alright, hey guys, Joe here. Today I want to show you something I'm very passionate about. I love building computers. This is one thing I just love doing so much, and so I wanted to show you guys how cool it is. So today I'm actually building a computer for my auntie and uncle, and so their design requirements was they needed something just for basic stuff like internet browsing, emails and word processing. Really basic stuff, nothing like gaming or video editing, nothing like that. So this is just a basic computer, and so I'm going to go through some of the parts with you, show you a little bit how to build it, you'll be able to seal that, and we'll turn it on and see how it all goes and stuff. So, but yeah, so I'll just go through a few things. So the first part, I'll show, obviously got the case there. This is just the case. I've already seen a case before, so that's just what houses everything. So I've got to mount everything in here. So first important component is the motherboard. So this thing here, this is called the motherboard. This is like, it houses everything. It's like the bus station. Everything has to go through the bus station to get anywhere. So you'll see in detail as I put it in, but I'm just going to get this thing mounted in there for the time being, but you can have a good look there. So yeah, I'll explain each part as it goes, but that there is just a massive bunch of chips. You don't have to know much about it. I don't really understand what's going on there either, but that there's the motherboard. So quite an important piece there. Alright, so let's go ahead and put this thing in. That should make a nice little click. Necessary information. Alright, okay, now that that's in, I'll give you a quick look. As you can see in there, it's all mounted in. I think there was 6 screws and all mounted in there now. So now you may be wondering, I've got this thing attached to my wrist. I don't know if you can see this. Whoop, no, we just came disconnected. This here, I'll take it off so you can see, is an anti-static wrist strap. So it's just a wrist strap that attaches around my arm. All it does is remove static. Now what is static? Static, you probably experience that when you jump out of a car and you get zapped by the car when you touch the car door. All it's doing is it's protecting these components that I'm putting in from having that happen to them, because it can actually destroy them. It can actually, what's the word I'm looking for? Fry them. I could fry the components by not being static protected. So quite an important thing there, the anti-static wrist strap. Make sure you got that on, and I'm just going to be earthed to ensure it's not going to happen to the case. So everything's all neutral according to the case. So that's why I've got that on my wrist. Very important thing, especially when handling components. So, alright, next part, we will probably jump to the power supply. This here, big bulky thing, big bulky thing, I'll take it close. So it's, what this thing does here, you probably recognise this connector here, that's just your normal wall power connector, right? So this here will sit inside there and it will power all the other parts of the computer. So it's got all these little cables here, it's got all these other ports in here as well that connects to everything, and so that will power the motherboard and power everything inside the computer. So it's got to have different cables for each one. So that's power supply. We'll put that in there now. So it's going to sit like that nicely there. Okay, so we've got the power supply in now. That's it there, up the top there. Power supply actually is a really important part for reliability of your computer, because when you build a computer, you want it to last. I always spend a little bit of extra money on the power supply to make sure it's going to last, because if this thing goes, it's going to fry everything else. So really important to get a good power supply there. So you can see it's got all these cables in here as well. And so this big daddy one here, this little thing here, that there will power the motherboard. It's going to plug right into this one here. Click, there we go, got a nice little click. I'll tidy up the cables later, but so there you go. So, and there's different ones go to different things. So this here will probably be an extra one that will go to the motherboard to power the CPU. Power supply done. Alright, so next part here, you may see right in the middle here, this is where the computer's brain goes. This little part right in the middle here, quite an important part. So this here is where it gets connected to the motherboard. So I'm just going to pop this little protector here off, this little plastic protector. This here is the processor. Now it looks quite big, but actually the processor is actually very small. You actually see it a little bit in there actually. But the reason why this box is so big is because it's got the heatsink inside of it. So I'll just open it up and just show you quickly what's inside of it. So this here is the processor. Right, so it's a little wee chip, little wee thin chip. You see on the back here, it's got all the pins, all those little dots, little metal contacts that connect directly to the motherboard there. So this one here is actually a dual core one as well, if you want to know that fact. But so this is the brain of the computer. This is where all the thinking happens, all the processing happens. So we're going to go in and connect to the motherboard. So anti-static check. All right, let's go put this bad boy in. So these two little marks there line up. So you got two little nicks on the side there that make it line up nicely. So you see how it's not going to move now. It's quite securely in. So now we're going to lock it in. So this big clamp thing's going to come down on top. Slide it under. Press it down. And it goes up underneath. So that there is now going to make sure that all those contacts are all firmly connected together. So this here is the heat sink. So that's what was in the rest of the box. So this thing here is the fan that keeps it cool. So the brain gets pretty hot with all the thinking it does. So it's got to keep cool. So this fan here blows all the heat away. So I'm gonna go put that in now. It's looking good to go. Alright, so it just sits on top of the inside those holes, and I think you just got to lock them down. So I'm gonna do them diagonal, like that, and then the diagonal ones as well. That click in nicely, so that there is firmly in place. That there, this is the pin connector that powers the fan. So we're going to connect it right in there, right there. Right now, we're going to move on to, let's do the RAM. This one here, this is the RAM. It's all boxed up. I'll take it out so you can see it. So this here is a 4 GB stick. 4 gigabytes. Probably all you need for basic stuff like we're using it for. So as you can see there, it's got all the memory modules on there, and this is the pins that connect to the motherboard. So we're going to go ahead now and insert that into the motherboard. Right. It's got 2 RAM slots. We're only putting 1 in there, so for future upgrade. That there's just going to line up inside of these things here. Going to slot down nicely, and then we're going to push down to here, click like that. Nice. Now that RAM there is installed, so that's got 4 gigabytes there. All right. Now what we'll do the optical drive. So the disk drive, this one here. This here is the disk drive. Now it's not a Blu-ray drive, it's just a DVD and CD drive all in one. So that there, we're going to insert that into the computer now. So you probably can all guess, you can watch DVDs on that, that's what you need to watch DVDs. Alright, let's go put that in. Now it's just going to slide in nicely. That's all that's going to happen. Well, nicely. Yeah, there we go. So make sure the optical drive is powered. So we need to get the right power cable. That one connects to the power supply. That one's going to connect to the optical drive to power the optical drive. Okay, now we're going to do the hard drive. So the hard drive is this thing here. This here is a hard drive. Very, very small. This is actually the same size you would actually put in a laptop. So this here stores all the data. Okay. Now we're just going to insert in the Wi-Fi card. So this card here makes the desktop so it can connect to the internet wirelessly. That's where this thing here is going to connect into, and it's going to appear back on the side out here. So we're just going to slot that in nicely, like that. Nicely done. All right. There we go. Point them. These cables here actually connect to the front ports here. So these cables here are what connects the USB and the audio and the microphone and the power one and the power LEDs. They connect them all to the motherboard. So each one's labelled. So that one there's the audio, and there's got USB on it. So I've got to connect all those to the motherboard. So it's quite a little fiddly job, this one actually. It's probably the fiddliest job. And so we'll give that a whirl. And so there's what it looks like with all the cables all tidy. So quite nice. Actually, we'll get a few close angle on that there. So yeah, it should be nice and tight in there. You want the cables tidy so it's easy to work with in the future. So if you want to add something in or something like that, or change something. And also for cooling, because you need good airflow through there. If you've got the cables just everywhere, it's not good. But alright, so we've done all the hardware stuff now. Well, now we need to look at installing the software. So the most common operating system out there is Windows. This is Windows 8.1 Home Edition. Before I always start a computer, I always pray for it, because I guess anything could go wrong. And I mean, when I first turn it on, you've got to be very, very careful. Just keep smelling for any smoke, or just keep an eye out for anything that might spark or something. I don't know. Never had that happen to me, but just something you need to be wary of. So, alright, dear God, I thank you for this computer, and yeah, God, just as you gave us the breath of life, this is pretty cool to give this computer a breath of life too. Amen. Alright, here we go. So, right, so now I'm just going to keep myself quite close. Yeah. Looking good so far. So we've got the disk drive going for it. We're just installing Windows at the moment. So there you go. That's how to build a computer, guys. Thanks for watching.